Translation. Thus, when the personality of God entered into the elements by his energy, all the living entities were enlivened into different activities, just as one is engaged in his work after awakening from sleep. Every individual soul remains unconscious after the dissolution of the creation, and thus enters into the life of his material life.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 2, Translation and Commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. I'm not going to read the whole commentary, it's quite long.
You have to have 13 children, you better get started.
Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established in the heart. Religion includes 4 primary subjects, namely pious activity, economic development, satisfaction of the senses, and finally liberation from materialism. Irreligious life is a barbarous condition. Indeed, human life begins with religion. Eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating are the 4 principles of animal life. These are common both to animals and to human beings, but religion is the extra function of the human being. Without religion, life is no better than animal life. Therefore, in human societies, there is some form of religion which aims at self-realization and which makes reference to man's eternal relationship with God. In the lower stages of human civilization, there is always competition to lord it over the material nature, or, in other words, there is a continuous rivalry to satisfy the senses. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion. He thus performs pious activities and religious functions in order to gain something material. But if such material gains are obtainable in other ways, then so-called religion is neglected. This is the situation in modern civilization. Man is thriving economically, so at present he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques, or temples are now practically taken. Men are more interested in factories, shops, and cinemas than in religious places which were erected by their forefathers. This practically proves that religion is performed for some economic gains. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Often when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. Is translation needed for anyone?
You might as well be speaking in you don't understand at all.
Malayalam.
This is technical. Last night we were discussing
Srila Prabhupada has given what we would call a long purport
the nectar of devotion.
Srila
Prabhupada summarized the nectar of devotion.
Well, it was Hare Krishna, so it's not so bad. But even that, so she'll let you off because you're not. Everyone else, if your cell phone goes off, 100 dirhams. Okay? If you want to give 100 dirhams donation, you're welcome. Please. But we'd prefer if you gave it without the cell phone going off. Alright, so this is a fairly long purport, one of the longer purports among Srila Prabhupada's extensive commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, Srimad Bhagavatam is unlimited because Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna in the form of a book. This is not simply some piece of paper with printing on it. There are hundreds of thousands of papers and books and toothpaste tubes, which are all kinds of things which are printed every day. And with the internet, there's more. It's not exactly printed.
It's difficult to understand
Information, misinformation or wrong information. There's millions, literally millions of websites out there, all kinds of things, covering all areas of human activity and thought. But this Srimad Bhagavatam is of a different nature altogether, which it is stated here in the first three verses of Bhagavatam, set the tenor, all of the Bhagavatam, that this is something completely different from every other kind of literature is stated here. We have here, we have the word here 3 times. Atra. In here. Parama projita kaitavo atra. Here means within the Srimad Bhagavatam. This verse, the word atra comes. So herein, projita, pra-ujita, completely out of nothing. These words are cheating nothing in the name of dharma is completely rejected. Herein, paramo nirmatsaranam satam.
But they don't actually have
it is the parama is an adjective which can be used with the immediately adjacent
they're all given
noun, nirmatsarana. Srila Prabhupada has joined it to say the highest truth. Atra param. Here this means the highest truth.
So they don't have that scientific determination.
So I want to make that point. A 3-page purport, but actually, even in millions of pages, Bhagavatam is unlimited. There's no end. The purport that could be given on this verse, but actually the purport is the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. Because this is describing what is the subject of Srimad Bhagavatam, and therefore the whole Bhagavatam is an extension of these 3 verses.
It's not
captured herein. So particularly I wanted to talk here this evening about another atra herein. Vedyam vastavam atra.
What is this?
Atra vastu. Shivadam. Vedyam means that which is to be known. It also gives the indication of Vedas, because that will be described later, how Vyasadeva, after compiling all the Vedas, was unhappy. He should have been happy. He did a good job for all of human society. Narad he said, you didn't do a good job because you didn't describe the Vedyam Vastavam, the real thing which is to be understood. You've given Veda, which means knowledge, but you didn't give knowledge of the actual
5042
Vastava Vastu, the really real thing, the real object of knowledge. Vedaischa Sarva. This means, Lord Krishna says within the Vedas, I am to be known. But actually, when we say Veda, we think of some scripture. But actually, the literal meaning is that Krishna is the object of knowledge. We say Veda means scriptures. We think, well, there's Veda, there's Bible, there's Quran. We think this is the Veda is the scripture of the Hindus, the Bible, the Jews and Christians, Quran and Muslims. But actually, Veda doesn't. It's not a sectarian scripture. It means knowledge. So the actual object of knowledge is Krishna. So we can take it like that. This is the actual knowledge of the Vedas, because Vyas is Vedavyas. Vyas means he divides. Vedavyas means he divided the Veda. Veda is one. So he divided into Rik, Sama, Yajur, and also Atharva. And then corollary literature included within the Veda are the Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana. These are all considered corollary to Vedas or Vedas. Veda became three, sometimes said three, sometimes said four Vedas. So Vyasadeva, he is the compiler of the Vedas, and he's also made the Srimad Bhagavatam as the Nigama Kalpatara Galitam Phalam, as the ripened fruit of the desire tree of Nigam was given here. That Veda simply means knowledge, and that usually is Veda. The Vedic literature, Nigama, in this context, specifically refers to what we would call the Veda. So, when it's stated here, Vedam Vastavam Atra Vastu, this is the actual subject matter of these Vedas. That's true. But in a broader sense, it means that this is the ultimate object of knowledge, what is described in here. This is knowledge.
Famously declared
Atravastu, this thing, this subject is the actual subject of knowledge, and Shivadam, it is auspicious. So Srila Prabhupada translates this, we can say it's a commentary interwoven with the translation. They're taking the word parama from the first line and blending that with Vedyam Vastavam Atravastu Shivadam. Shivadam means auspicious. That which gives auspiciousness. So he translates, Srila Prabhupada translates this as the highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all.
And if we accept that He's all powerful,
very beautifully put.
Sound of one
English. English is generally not a very beautiful language.
suffer.
There are famous English writers, but it doesn't lend itself to poetry in the same way as Sanskrit, or for that matter, many of you use Tamil. These languages. There's also languages within the Vedic culture, languages which are derived from Sanskrit. Of course, there's a supposition that Sanskrit is derived from Tamil. And Tamil was originally given by Lord Shiva and Agastya Muni. So there's some that said, as far as we know, that Sanskrit is also
from desire. And desire doesn't exist, and the person who's desiring doesn't exist.
But anyway, that's also a language which lends itself to disciplined form of poetry, whereas in English poetry, Srila Prabhupada comments, how funny is this poetry? One line is 14 words, the next line is 3 words, the next line is 28 words, the next line is 16 words. It's unsystematic. Whereas in Sanskrit, there are various chandas according to the number of syllables per line.
And even the Buddhists, they argue among themselves.
There are specific rules. There are many rules for composing poetry, which helps to make the there are many factors within Sanskrit which helps to make it beautifully poetic. Therefore, it lends itself to beautiful poetic composition. And in fact, even from the literary point of view,
even in the name of following the shower, that may be due to some pious activity.
Even from the literary point of view, Bhagavatam is beautiful poetry.
But then they become
Vyasadev's topmost contribution in every way.
making people confused.
So, that I was saying, Sanskritam is beautiful language. English is not a very beautiful language. But Srila Prabhupada has rendered very beautifully in so many of his translations and purports. They're very beautifully expressed, even in this Lecha Bhasha. It's called Lecha Bhasha. It doesn't just mean language which is spoken by lechas, but it means an unsystematic language. Sometimes Lecha Bhasha is used to refer to all languages apart from Sanskrit.
So then again he becomes good.
Because they're all unsystematic in some way. So anyway, Srila Prabhupada has translated this.
What is called good in this
very beautifully. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusions for the welfare of all.
The real message of the joy.
That's a bold claim. What is the highest truth? Most people are not even thinking of truth.
Because they don't read it.
People take it as a religious. You show these books, people say, I'm not interested in religious books. But Srila Prabhupada, from the very beginning of his writing of this Srimad Bhagavatam, we go right to the beginning, introduction, page 1. Of course, there is the foreword, no, the preface before that. But the actual writing of Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the first sentence of the introduction. The conception of God and the conception of absolute truth are not on the same level. The Srimad Bhagavatam hits on the target of the absolute truth. So what does this mean? This means that people think of God and they think of the truth. That sentimental people think of God and philosophical people think of the truth. But Srila Prabhupada in this first paragraph, first and second paragraph, brings the point that the Bhagavatam is concerned with the truth, and that truth is what people call God. But that what they call God, their sentimental understanding, that is not what is described in here. This is scientific. Srila Prabhupada often uses this word. Scientific delineation of the absolute truth, who is the Supreme Personality Godhead. Scientific means not test tubes, not exactly like that, but systematic, which is to be understood by the intelligence, not simply by sentiment or fanaticism or dogmatism.
By being religious,
that's what people think religion is.
I will very clearly say,
It's just something you believe.
By the blessing of God.
But science is something different. Srila Prabhupada didn't accept this. Whenever he does, what do you believe? That's generally what you think when people see someone from a religion, they don't know what it is. So they ask you, well, what do you believe? It's considered, well, you have your belief, someone else has someone else's belief. And they're all different beliefs. Prabhupada would answer, it is not a question of belief, it is a fact. It is a science. He didn't like to present it as a belief. Of course, faith is there, faith is required, but that's true of anything.
How does that happen?
Faith is required in science also.
Two people here.
When we say 2 + 2 = 4, that's scientific.
given in Brahma Samhita.
But if you look at it philosophically,
Summary.
what is a number anyway?
Brahma, 5th chapter of Brahma.
A number is actually, there's no such thing as a number, or what a number is supposed to represent. It's a mental construct. There's no such thing as A1 or A2. But we accept the mental construct of numbers, although there's nothing really there. There's actually no such thing as a number. So, but we accept with faith. This mental construct is something useful.
So it's true.
Something we can utilize. But faith is required for anything. Just like if we want to demonstrate
although actually in
that
Buddhism,
hydrogen and
most people
oxygen combine to form
in liberation.
this dihydrogen oxide
In this world or enjoying themselves in a future life.
Why?
or water.
Then
Then we burn hydrogen in an atmosphere, just in the atmosphere. Oxygen is one of the ingredients, and we capture this, that, and condense it, and we get water. But then, what is it? Someone may challenge, well, that's not water, or that's not hydrogen, or we just presume, we take for granted that the atmosphere, when we burn it, that there's an atmosphere of oxygen. We don't always try to verify everything. If we try to verify everything at every moment, we can't go forward even an inch. And then even the verification doesn't prove anything. It only proves that what I perceive agrees with what you perceive. But but does anything exist at all? If we want to be doubtful, there's no limit to doubt. No one of us doubts that we're in Abu Dhabi. But you could doubt it. You could say, well, it's all an illusion. There's no Abu Dhabi. This is just a dream. If you want to be argumentative, there's no end to the doubt. But we have to have some faith, otherwise we can't even breathe in, because we may be afraid that someone put some poison in the air. We can't eat any food, because we may be afraid it's poison. Or if we think that nothing exists, then there's no need to eat any food. People who say that there is nothing say, well, here's your meal. Plate with nothing on it. You don't need to eat anything. So faith is inherent in existence. But there is reasonable faith, and there is blind faith or dogmatism. So I had the experience of, in this lifetime, of growing up in what can safely be called a dogmatic religious system, in which I was told that you just have to believe the Bible. Because why? Well, you just have to. If you don't, you go to hell. It's pretty rough alternative. But then when I grew up a little bit, I found out that, well, people say that about the Quran also. And then even within the followers of the Bible, they say, well, you have to believe that they cannot understand, not the way you understand. So we say that you're going to hell, and they say we're going to hell, and there's no intelligent way to verify. But if we accept that Scripture is given by God, and it's supposed to be, it should be understood by the intelligence. if it's some writing, it's not just supposed to be some. If it's God's message to mankind, and God is something more than a bigot or a despot or a crackpot, then presumably he's giving it some knowledge which can be understood by the intelligent people. So Srimad Bhagavatam gives them. Therefore we accept Srimad Bhagavatam. Maybe you accept Srimad Bhagavatam in the way that many Christians accept the Bible, because they're born in a Christian country and they feel, they're brought up in that culture and they just feel, well, must be true. Actually, I understand as a Christian, and so I'm a Christian too. So maybe most of you accept the Srimad Bhagavatam in a similar way, because you're Hindus, and all right, well, this is our scripture, and okay, all right. But that's not the way the Srimad Bhagavatam presents itself. Srimad Bhagavatam presents Vedyam Vastava Matra Vastu. This is the subject matter to be understood, the actual subject matter of all knowledge. We don't find that Garv Se Kaho Ham Hindu Hai in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. For those of you who are Tamil and hate Hindi, this means say with pride, I am a Hindu, or we are Hindus.
What is our position? What is our presence?
There are not so many Tamils who hate Hindi nowadays, because
conditioned
very much move out of Tamil Nadu to get jobs, so they have to speak Hindi also.
Status.
So
why we need to
Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't present any such thing as you believe in this or you will burn in hell forever.
Purification,
scientific knowledge
in terms of
what is reality. That means, what are the components of reality? There is Krishna.
And actually,
he is the ultimate object of everything, because he is the ultimate source of everything. That is stated in the very first words of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yataha. He is the source of everything and the sustainer of everything, and through him destruction is also affected.
Good at acting.
Tova imani jayanti.
People don't hear.
Tova imani jayanti. This is Jamadhyasya Yataha. This parallels the statement of Taittiriya Upanishad. What is Brahma? That by which everything is created, everything is maintained, everything is destroyed. That is the actual subject.
You can take a musical instrument and make all kinds of
just filling up time by listening.
So this Srimad Bhagavatam presents. Bhagavad Gita presents succinctly, and Srimad Bhagavatam presents in detail what is the absolute truth. That absolute truth is the person, the supreme person, who has already been described in the first verse. Some of his qualities which distinguish him from other vastus are described. This is the Paramavastu, the supreme object of knowledge. There are other vastus. Krishna is that vastu who is the source of everything, by whom everything is maintained, by whom everything in this material world is destroyed, no destruction. He is directly and indirectly conscious of everything,
which have no meaning.
Yeah, and so many. The first verse of Bhagavatam describes. I won't go into that now. That's another huge subject. The first verse, but describes the characteristics of the supreme person, who is the supreme object of knowledge,
have to
So to say
and
that
who
form
is
or
the supreme
intrinsically
reality.
between spirit and matter.
inferior.
What is reality?
Follow the process of
Non-form.
bhakti
Now there is
to
an idea
purify
extant,
almost like
not just in
mentality, which in
modern
many
society,
people
but throughout
to me as
the history of
from
the
a
world.
which is-
There
It's
are
not
philosophers who
philosophical
say
basis, but
that
you could say that, well, all
reality
such understand
is
that
whatever
say
you
just
perceive
like
it to
the
be.
sound,
It depends on the individual. If you think
form of sound comes
some
from
electric
the
shock.
this, if you think Krishna is supreme, okay.
there's an
It's true for you.
unmanifest.
If you think Shiva is supreme,
Actually,
sound,
it's not
if you think
necessary.
nothing is
to
supreme,
all
that's
blessings,
true.
blessings, blessings.
Sound,
So
like
I
the
understood
language
that
or
one
music.
is
if you think there is
serious
no
modeling
reality,
process
that's
of
true
bhakti.
for
Then
you.
also
Uh,
Hindu
that
society
may be true, just like
Just like
sound.
In other words,
Sound.
they say that reality is
give us this day our daily
according to
bread.
the individual, which is
Someone
true
who
in
has
one
language
sense.
and someone who
Does the child every
Because
day
if
go
someone
out
thinks,
and
well, I don't believe in any God, I just work hard and I maintain my family, and this is reality
they
for
have a
me.
whole different.
I can't believe in anything which
we're
I can't
sincere
perceive.
performing our
But I know
activities,
I have to work and bring money and maintain my family. This is reality for me.
In English,
And I don't know anything beyond that. And so, well, in what, for him that is true. And he feels it to be true, and he experiences like that, and his whole outlook is like that. And he's convinced that this is reality. There's nothing beyond this. This is an atheist.
Quiet. We have to study.
It's true, yes, but
they
there comes a point at which he has to change his outlook. That point is, if he doesn't change his outlook before death, it comes at the time of death. And then he will be forced into another existence. Let's say, for instance, he becomes a dog in his next life. And then for him, as far as he's concerned, reality is running around the street with other dogs, if he's a street dog in India,
philosophical
in
analysis,
one sense
and
that's true, but at
trying
the
to
same
get
time,
some food and trying to avoid the stones that are thrown at him
methodology
by
to extract to
people who
extract and
don't
shape
want
that sound
dog coming around them.
meaningfully.
Otherwise, Rupa Goswami could
So
have
for
just
him,
said, well, you just get
so
blessings
reality is that.
one line
So
and finish everything.
the intelligent
as far as the dog's concerned, that is reality. Ahara, nidra, bhaya, maitun. That's his whole existence.
Analysis.
Whereas food, shelter,
simply
and sex and fighting.
impersonal plan.
That's all.
So
But
we should try to
this
understand
cannot be called the highest reality because, it's, for one thing, it's temporary.
Become shaped.
always present.
And it's subjective.
Personality.
Reality, what is actual reality or truth
Shape.
should be
Meaningful shape.
Actually,
or
when
must
we hear
be
about the
to
descriptions of
applicable
Mahaprabhu
to
dancing,
all
on
persons,
shape,
all
whether it's
objects, in
making
all
chapatis
places,
or
in all
making a
times, in all
sculpture.
circumstances.
people in general, they tend to think of that as some
Speaking
kind
a
of
language.
sentimentalism. What is
Otherwise,
sentimentalism?
if you say,
Sentimentalism
yeah,
means
I often give this
it's
example.
nothing-
There's
it's not
one
really-
song
the
I
question is
heard
there.
once only.
is
This
higher.
was before I joined
An emotional
this Hare Krishna
outburst,
movement.
you could say.
So it must have been, more than 35 years ago.
Non-personality.
And I heard
They
it
don't
once,
think
and I
it's
remember
higher,
it
but they
even
have to
now
be a
for the
personality
incredible
Chaitanya
stupidity
person to even make this
that it
philosophy
propounded.
even discuss it.
And I mean, it was
again,
just a song by, another fool.
Understanding
There are many
Bhakti
songs
Tattva.
written by many, there are many foolish songs written by many foolish
Which is
people.
kind of
And
nothing.
some of these songs
doesn't
that
create
people sing,
philosophy.
they have some
His understanding was
intelligent
We don't
things to say also.
we don't discuss
It's not that everyone
philosophy with non-person.
it's not that everything that everyone
essential.
says is completely
They say
foolish.
that there is
There are
ultimately
many
there's no person.
philosophers
So don't discuss your philosophy
who
with
have
stone.
insights into reality, but they don't have the whole picture.
understanding or experience.
So
In
So
so many
Chaitanya
ways,
Mahaprabhu,
it's self-
many of them do
this
say
idea that
It's not like
some
that
things
in
which we can quote
people
also.
go to a
to
marriage party and they start
non-personality or
dancing.
unpersonality.
It was a song by John Lennon, who
Anyway,
probably
this is
music
great
and they
discussion.
some of you might have heard of.
Often
He
we
was
see
immensely
Tiny
famous
will
and
go on
popular at that
because
time.
perform
certain
public singing
Of the
guitar,
Beatles.
dancing.
He met Srila
And people come
Prabhupada.
and join. They
Prabhupada
think,
was
hey,
staying
this is
in
fun, this is
his
great. It's
estate
Almost everyone.
in
It's
London
like,
when he first came,
like a
outside
marriage
London,
party.
So it's
when he first came to England.
necessary
And John
that
Lennon,
join in
he was some kind of a philosopher.
People are there to
could say.
dance anyway.
But
And
Prabhupada
they think, wow,
didn't
this
rate
is
his
great. Yesterday
philosophical
I was
abilities
saying
very
to-
highly. but he was some kind of a philosopher, and he did say he did have some good perceptions also. I mean, one of the things he said is, living is easy with eyes closed. So that's an interesting perception. It's one of the things. So this particular song, which I heard once, and I remember the tune and everything,
modern Hindu culture
was so incredibly stupid.
And
whereas the dancing
so it was John Lennon's ultimate philosophy of life. He gave in one song.
Ram Krishna
And just to his wife's name was Yoko Ono. I think she's still alive. He was shot dead at the age of 40, approximately 1980 or 18 years.
or impersonal.
So anyway, in the song, I don't remember all the words exactly.
That's good.
But he was singing in a very profound way. It sounded very profound. You know what profound means? It means like at the deepest level of realization. So he was singing like this.
We worship a God.
I don't believe in Hitler. I don't believe the Bible. And he went through all like 20 minutes. Actually, the song went on about 20 minutes. All the things he didn't believe in. All the major things that anyone had ever believed in the history of humankind, as it is known to the blinkered Western man. And then he came to the conclusion, I just believe in me. Wait a minute, there's more to it. There's more. That's not the end of his philosophy. I just believe in me, Yoko and me. Yoko is his wife's name. He later divorced her. Later they got divorced. And then again they got together and they put a full-page advertisement on the front page of the New York Times, which cost them millions of dollars, to say they've come together again. This is called egoism. Anyway, there's still more. I just believe in me, Yoko and me. That's reality. So here we're reading what Srimad Bhagavatam Vyasadeva says. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. And John Lennon, being actually a typical fool. It's just that he was more expert in enunciating, in expressing it. But everyone thinks like this. Everyone thinks reality is me, me and my wife. This is Putra Dara Grihadishu, my children, my wife, my home, and everything else. This is reality. Ato griha kshetra sutapta vitaya janasya mohoyam aham mameti. This is the illusion. This is illusion of thinking that I, me, my wife, my home, my money, my children, my friends, this is reality. Srimad Bhagavatam says that this aham mameti, this I, me and mine, this is illusion. So Srimad Bhagavatam propounds the highest truth as reality distinguished from illusion. In other words, people think it's reality. For them it is reality subjectively. They feel this is real. Me, my wife, my job, my dog, my cat. This is reality. But actually it's illusion. It only appears to be reality. Why is it not real? Well, immediately the answer is because it's temporary. If it's real, if it's Vastavavastu, if it's the actual substantial substance, which doesn't seem to make sense. Not the real thing. Say substantial substance. Anything that has substance is substantial. There's no need to say hot fire or wet water.
And you may think I have so much
feeling. Here, Vyasadeva has said, Vastavavastu, the substantial substance, because what people take as substantial is not actually substantial at all. It's just an illusion. It's not reality. They have an intense experience. They feel, I love my wife so much. That's just when they get married. Afterwards, not so much.
Big program,
but
the
feeling at the beginning, the falling in love, and
just praise.
Such a strong feeling, but it doesn't last.
Really in bhakti at all.
That intensity doesn't last. It's just you see at the beginning, falling up. All the time, and later on, after 1 year or 2 years, you find, yeah.
It's just that, people coming in and
do shasana.
So that's not real.
It wasn't just because
it's intense experience, but it doesn't last. The only intense experience that continually manifests within material existence is pain. The reality of material existence is pain.
You see in English,
and that is manifest in grossly through physical suffering, and mentally, and in fact, whatever we take as enjoyable is just like, for instance, this love. It ultimately results in pain. Yehi sangsparshaja bhoga dukhayoneya evate adyantavanta kamtayana teshu ramate buddha.
If we have any sympathy
in Hinduism, there's
in the material world, happiness is based on the interaction of the senses with the sense objects, and briefly it may seem to give some feeling of happiness, but it ultimately, it very quickly turns to distress. Just like if we have a feeling of love, but that will ultimately result in distress because we're separate. Either the love turns sour, or it becomes a source of distress because love in the material world means attachment to that which, strong attachment to that which is temporary. We have to be separated. And therefore we lament, oh, my wife died.
And then an impersonal, non-entity altogether.
And a worship of oneself.
So pain is the only constant in this material world. So he may say, well, all right, that's reality. Some people, that's another philosophy. There are so many philosophies. Some people have analyzed the condition of the material existence, and not knowing any other existence, they say, well, everything is all pain. Everything is just pain. Everything is just suffering. It's Buddha's philosophy. Everything is just suffering. This material world is suffering. Suffering is caused by desire. Therefore we have to stop desire. This is the Buddhist principle. Buddha means one who is intelligent. He sees that this material world is full of suffering. Therefore he doesn't take part in it.
How does the Jesus worshipable? Well, that's due to
it's true that material desire is the cause of suffering. But that is not the highest truth. That is truth, but that pertains to material existence. But Srimad Bhagavatam gives knowledge of spiritual existence, where this Vedam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam. It's not simply negative. Shivadam means it gives that which is for the welfare of everyone. It's not just suicide philosophy. Buddhism is suicide philosophy. We're simply suffering, therefore cease to exist. Nirvana, what they call nirvana, means cessation of existence. It's a very negative idea. But Srimad Bhagavatam says that the highest truth is love. Love conquers all. But not this material love.
I read the abridged version, that's enough.
Srimad Bhagavatam gives scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead, who is described in the previous verse as Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param. He always resides in his own abode, which is, there's no illusion there. It means there's reality. That is reality. That is the Satyam
Simply by
Param.
hearing
This is
stories
to be
that
meditated
won't
on.
have much meaning.
So this
We won't understand
reality,
them.
this is the highest reality, or the highest reality, or
Unless
it's
we
reality.
understand the teachings, because
Just there's no need to say wet water, so there's no need to say highest reality. Reality is, by its own nature, stands above illusion, but it's said like that, just to emphasize the point. That what we think reality,
To pray to
what we think is
Krishna
reality, actually isn't reality.
to overcome the
What is reality, what is
No, to
always
tolerate. We
real.
can pray to Krishna
We,
for
think,
the
we are
strength
all
to
sitting here
tolerate
in Abu
the
Dhabi,
various
true,
obstacles.
but it's not an eternal.
We can pray for
Abu
instance,
Dhabi is
that,
not eternal,
well,
so
my
we're
brain
not
is
eternal.
When will this book be
Building
ready?
doesn't let me,
And we
Well, it's
won't,
almost there.
even in this lifetime,
doesn't
we
let
won't
me
be in Abu
keep a
Dhabi
picture
Lots
of
of
Krishna
new stories about Bhakti
in the
Siddhanta.
office.
They will
So
take many
it's not something which
pray to
is
Krishna to
eternally
It's
true, nor is it
Pray to
eternally
Krishna that may he
for our welfare or our
stories.
interest. The highest truth
Listen to some stories.
is that which is
what are the
the
teachings
for
that
the
Krishna
highest
is
welfare
become
of
more-
Lila,
all
that is the ultimate.
persons.
You can pray like that.
That's why, as a
Especially
child,
Rasa Lila.
I rejected this illusory
Especially
idea
Raja
of
Lila,
God
and especially
as someone who
just
throws
Vaisya
everyone
Lila,
into
and
hell
especially Rasa
forever,
Lila.
unless they're a Catholic,
Or even
or
As
unless,
far as sickness
according
is
to the
concerned,
Protestants,
the
unless you're
Surya Puja Lila.
in
what I
their
can
church.
see-
They have so many churches. Unless you
general
belong to the
description,
United
not
Reformed
doctors.
Methodist,
Ultimate, but
Presbyterian, come Lutheran wing, then you go to hell for everyone except the 56 people in our sect. They go to hell forever
The very foundation is flawed.
because they
So if
didn't
our
get it right.
Bhakti is not on the
So
strong foundation.
the idea of God as being a vengeful
One
person
may pray that
who
Krishna, if you
Who
remove
we
this
are,
suggest
what is
himself,
our
throws
relationship
everyone
with
into
Krishna,
hell if they don't believe in
then the
Him.
prayojan, the
This,
ultimate goal, praying
I've
prayojan,
No hope of any redemption ever.
attained.
Krishna in this situation.
This is not
Prayojan rests on some
sorry, what-
Vedam
first of all,
Vastavamatra
sambandha
Vastu
jnana,
Shivadam.
understanding what is our relationship with Krishna.
This is a wrong representation
You weren't here at the beginning of the
all-loving
discussion.
personality
Devotional service,
Godhead.
I discussed this in
from
the
which
beginning of
comes
the
The Srimad
prayojan, the ultimate
Bhagavatam
goal of life.
describes that which is
If we don't
real,
have clear understanding,
always
Why do
real,
people come late?
then
real
our
in the best
practice of
possible
bhakti,
way,
even though we do
real
already do all the things, we
already
chant
this-
16
for
rounds.
everyone in all times and all
For
places and all circumstances. Krishna
Can do,
If we don't
but
have a clear
is
understanding,
always the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
then that means we have an
He's
unclear
never not the
understanding.
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
And that
That's
means
always
to
true,
know.
even
that-
if everyone in the world doesn't accept it. You may say, well,
apparently
most
when
people don't believe that.
cultivating
That's
bhakti,
true. That's why we're in the material world.
described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We will be
If everyone in the
cultivating
prison says, well, the government is unjust. Why is the government unjust? Because they put us in the
we
prison.
may be cultivating
And everyone here believes that, so it must be true. But it's only the people in the prison who believe it. They're in the prison because they acted against the government rules.
One
But
dinar.
no one in the, if you go in the prison, everyone will say, actually, I'm innocent. I didn't do the, they all say, you're fine.
Find if we did
There's
that.
very few people all over the world. It's a phenomena
carefully
of,
Suggest you can
of prisons that everyone will insist, no, I didn't do anything wrong. It's they wrongly
our own
accused me. They
misuse.
put me here wrongly.
of our independence to serve Krishna.
But
Krishna.
It's up to
Bhagavad
us.
Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam give us the
Otherwise, when we think of
information
Krishna,
that it's
it
our
belongs
fault
to
that we're here. It's not God's fault or Satan's fault or anyone else's fault
Amnai,
or
so
Adam's
Amsara.
fault.
Misuse of our
He ate
own
an apple.
Shastra as
little
delivered.
independence.
And therefore, there's
Then when we
there's
do
wars
Krishna,
and
which
famines
Krishna
and
will be,
epidemics
our
because
understanding of
Adam
Krishna
ate an
comes
apple.
from Amar Chitra Katha,
Again,
TV Mahabharata,
as a child, I can
some
understand that
Mayavadi
this
from our
so-called
grandmother,
philosophy, it's not even childish.
all
It's sub-childish.
mixed
It's
up
like
wrong
for
idea.
mentally retarded people or something.
That's why we have
Really,
here.
it's
All right,
real,
I'll
it's
finish now
just
and then again
stupid.
Even
I mean, as a
Rasa,
child, I
those
could understand
coming
this. So
from
you can't even
English,
call
they
it
have